7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's start right out. Hey, what happened?
There we are. There we go. There we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Dean, and we are live again today. You can find us doing this show pretty much every single day right around 3 o'clock, 3 to 3:15. We're not too crazy about start times or end times. Doesn't matter. We're here. Welcome to the program. Lots to get to today. We've got some vaccine stuff to get to. I said I'd stop talking about Chris Sky, but he went nuts yesterday, so we got some of that video for you. And we're going to try and help a little bit today, and we're joined by some of my friends. Really excited to have everybody aboard today. Please welcome James DeFiore from Blackballed the Podcast and blackballmedia.ca, also Ryan Lindley from Sheeple Shepherd Podcast, and my new friend, Mr. John Dowe, Canadian veteran, ladies and gentlemen. He joins us today as well. Nice to see everybody, John. Good to see you. We're giving you a nice round of applause. Can I ask you a question? As someone who has done many tours of duty, as someone who has served this country, are civilians allowed to salute? Because I just saw you salute. And if we are, can you teach us properly how to do it? Are we allowed to do it too?
Essentially, anybody can salute. We all see it as a sign of support, a sign of encouragement for what they do, and nobody's going to hold anybody or be a stickler on the form. But a nice straight up, nice straight down, that'll please anyone.
I was always taught it was by the eye, but tilted forward a bit. Is that correct?
You know what? You're going to get a slight variation from any leader you're in front of. Probably there's always room for critique.
Yeah, like Justin Trudeau does finger guns instead.
Yeah, you did.
We've seen such a.
Yeah. Oh, did we bring up a trigger word for you, John?
No, it's okay. I'll make it through.
Yeah, because I always wondered about the salute, because I was always a lazy salute, but then you'd see like real guys in uniform, real men and women who've served their countries, and it's a serious fucking gesture, and I love the fact that it is. It's
like when you put up the Christmas lights and all that other stuff. There's always controversy, and people always pick something out of something. Yeah. Overall, any sign of support like that, like wearing a regiment shirt when you didn't serve, or doing a handshake as a civilian, or what time you put up your Christmas lights, before or after Remembrance, I think the rational central majority just appreciates the gesture. We really do.
Lieutenant Dawson from A Few Good Men, remember, with Demi Moore? And
yes.
He had a great salute. It snapped the uniform. It was awesome.
Yeah, snap.
His salute had a crease in it.
That's right.
It's when you know you're a fucking saluter, is when your salute has a crease in it and it makes a noise.
Some people lose their keys in the crease of their salute. That's how.
Well, it doesn't matter as long as they're saluting, which is good. So I've learned something already from John. You can salute people, and it's just a sign of respect. It's a sign of respect to our men and women in uniform.
More or less, yes. I mean, every once in a while, if someone is actually wearing a uniform and is actively employed and pulls off a sloppy one, well, he's going to get the heat. But by and large, we just appreciate the support from everyone.
Yeah, but I'm one of these people that when I see, like, let's say a truck full of guys that are traveling across the country pull into the grocery store that I'm in because they want to go in and grab a bite to eat or something like that, and you see them kind of get out of their military vehicle and they all go in with their beanies on and they look terrific. I'm always that guy that goes and shakes each individual person's hand and says, thank you for your service. And sometimes, pre-COVID. And now I'm considering, because of COVID and a bunch of other things, I'm considering moving to the salute. And before we had John, I'm like, I want to ask John, like, when, as an Army guy, if you see a 48-year-old dude 20 feet away at No Frills or Loblaws go like this to you, is it weird, or is that respectful as well?
No, that would warm the heart.
Oh, fuck. I'm going to salute my balls off for the next little while.
I can't wait.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Just warming the cockles of your heart, everybody.
So, John, you brought it up. The Christmas lights before Remembrance Day. Now, can I put them up and not turn them on? Because it's starting to fucking snow here. And I don't want to wait until there's nice snow.
I say, and I know a lot of people, especially post this pandemic, say, whatever increases your joy and your sense of peace and happiness in life, give her.
Heroin.
I don't want to turn them on. I just want to get them up. My hands not freeze off. So
Yeah.
Well, there you are.
Or you could do what I do and just don't put up fucking lights. You get tube floodlights.
Or you can
no,
do
I'm not
what
a
I
Grinch.
do, which is keep them on all year. Right?
People say you're up early if you keep them on all year. Oh, you got them up in January. They're just up 11 months early.
Yeah, well, again, live for yourself and not others.
There you go. I like that saying. John, how long were you, did you serve for Canada? How long did you serve in Canada's armed forces for?
Well, I served for 10 years. I enrolled in 1990. I served for 10 years. I was out in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
I was misdiagnosed, unfortunately, with this rheumatoid, funky, early onset arthritis, but I didn't have it. I actually had a lot of physical issues in my back from rolling like a tank with wheels. We rolled it down in Calgary. So with the resultant chronic injuries, I was released, wasn't fit for the infantry anymore in 2000. That's a story for another day, but I was able to change that diagnosis as well once I learned how to navigate the Veterans Affairs benefits and compensation system.
Mm-hmm. But
yes.
you started, so 10 years of service. I got a picture of you from, this is 1992, and you look very badass here, John. Extremely badass. James brought this up, very Matt Dillon-y.
Yes.
That's
the guy you want in your corner. He's going to die
with
for
the
his
stash
buddies.
there.
Yeah, you look unbelievable. But where is this?
So what you're seeing here is we had just arrived in country. We were the advance party into Somalia. So this is mid-December. We had arrived and we were patrolling the airfield in central Somalia. I was just finished in that picture digging a shell scrape, which would be my home for the next couple of weeks, before we moved into permanent quarters and a permanent compound. So I was quite tired, and it was above 50 Celsius, of course. And again, just pausing for a picture in my machine gun detachment that I was with the Canadian Airborne Regiment.
How big is the ditch that you have to live in for 2 weeks?
18 inches down, but it's a question of never having time to just complete that task. You do a little bit, you go do something else.
Right.
You're in country, you're just starting to occupy, establish a schedule. So it's several hours. Not all at once, but again,
it would go for $1,800 a month in Toronto, just to let you know. Like,
okay,
it's expensive.
Yeah.
So you're digging this thing. This is Somalia. You're 2 years into serving the Canadian Army, and the reason why you're here, and the reason why I'm showing you this, is at this point, you were put on a drug called Mefloquin, correct?
Yes.
What is
absolutely.
the drug? Because this drug is our gateway to understanding not just, the vaccine hesitant that are coming out of serving for our Canadian forces, but this goes a long way to understanding the behaviors of certain people. And we will get to some of those people that you had the pleasure and the duty of serving with. And so I think there's a story here, and we'll get to the story, but tell us about you here being on Mefloquin and what Mefloquin was given to you and all the other people that went to Somalia for.
Yes. So Mefloquin is an anti-malarial pill, and it was issued to Canadian Armed Forces all around regions in the globe where they had to do tours to prevent malaria. It's an anti-malarial pill called Mefloquin. Now, at the time I was given the drug, when you look at the picture, it was unlicensed. And we were only given the drug under the understanding that we would be part of a clinical drug trial, a safety monitoring study to determine the effects of the drug and any adverse events that may occur from people unable to utilize this drug. So it was a clinical drug trial, supposedly. And later on, of course, the Somalia affair ensued because the drug was extremely problematic. There was widespread subclinical cognitive impairment, problems in mood and thought and reasoning amongst a sizable minority of those who were taking this anti-malarial drug called Mefloquin. Yet when we had began to come forward to the medics and the doctor, the physician in Somalia about these problems and temporally associated with the drug, we were told, no, it's fine. It's the heat, it's the stressors. So we were unable to discontinue use even while we were being affected with paranoia, anxiety, hyperaggression, persecutory delusions, dissociation, and a myriad of other also neurological symptoms such as vestibular balance and stuff. So more and more troops began to complain, and unfortunately, with us not being heard and us unable to discontinue, this led to the Somalia affair, the eventual beating death of Shadena Roney in March of 1993.
So this is an important conversation for a couple of reasons, right? Is that one, there is an active court case, there's an active lawsuit against the government that I believe you're taking part in. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Can I correct?
Please, yeah.
It's not a active court case. It's 1,700 filed active RCMP, active military and retired RCMP and military, 1,700 personal injury lawsuits. And it's very important to highlight this point because it's unprecedented. This is not a class action. And there are quite a few ramifications and important parts of that maybe we can get into later. But it's a distinction with a difference.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
it's not a class action. It's actually like individual lawsuits.
That's crazy.
Yes.
Wow.
Like, is that a tactic that is expected? You might not be able to answer this, but the court system is clogged up as it is. Is it like shooting yourself in the foot in a small way if you have all these simultaneous court? Like, when's the last one going to be heard? Like 3,000 years from now? You know what I mean?
Yeah, very good question. So the reason this is applied in this manner is because a great number of our veterans are suffering from sanctuary trauma, in that Veterans Affairs in Canada, unlike other VA entities around the world, has yet to acknowledge and recognize the long-term impacts of the drug. Therefore, you cannot make a claim against the drug. You are denied the long-term effects as having being an issue in your service history. What that means is no benefits, no compensation, no avenue, no treatment pathway, and no compensation.
So fuck off. Really, it's like, hey, we gave you this drug, but the drug isn't really recognized. So fuck you if you got a problem with it. Is that correct?
Because it leads back to the botched or mock clinical drug trial, which introduced the drug to the country and led to the Somalia affair of 1993.
Okay,
with pending litigation and now current litigation, and the government's in a position where they must or will have to see culpability for conservative and liberal governments successfully kicking the can down the road, much in the parallels we see with the residential schools and whatnot, that litigation. That's why they are entrenched. That's why they are dug in, and they are willing to fight these cases. So we did not go class action. We used a much stronger punch with individual personal injury lawsuits, and also because where Veterans Affairs refuses here in Canada to acknowledge this, that's sanctuary trauma. It prevents the healing and the successful transition of the veteran back to the civilian world and employment. And it continues to break down of the families and they're being denied of their issues and troubles. So a personal injury lawsuit gives an avenue for that claimant, that litigant, a higher threshold of compensation so they can leave Veterans Affairs entirely and not be dependent upon their finances or compensation or earnings loss, and seek treatment elsewhere where there are private entities that acknowledge quinism, the long-term impacts of Mefloquin, and are providing screening opportunities and treatment pathways today. Long-winded, much to unpack. This is an entirely complex issue. I know this is long form, but again, just like we're peeling the onion here. But this explains why mass tort, not class action. That's the legal strategy.
Get it. Totally get it. So it's got more oomph pending an outcome. I mean, it's like everybody's going to be able to individually take what they need out of this to be able to go and get the help that they need, and then go to Veterans Affairs and have that whole thing be a legitimate process so they can actually get some help. That much I totally understand. But let's get back to Mefloquin.
Absolutely.
I read a bunch of articles, and some of the articles I read were really fucking disturbing. Mefloquin was given as an anti-malarial vaccine.
It prophylactic, protection, not a vaccine.
Sorry, prophylactic, not a vaccine. Not approved. Made everybody take it. Was it just Army, or was it RCMP as well? Did they make people? Because you said the RCMP are involved in this.
What's interesting is they unwittingly created the largest cohort control group, because the RCAF were always precluded from having to take the drug. Aircrew, pilots were told from the outset this drug it may cause neurological or psychiatric issues. This is right from the manufacturer. Do not dispense this drug to them. So everybody doing dirt operations were compelled to take the drug. And this is why both Rwandan commanders, Lieutenant General Romeo Dallaire and Tousignant of the Rwandan mission, are clients of our Mefloquin mass tour, because they realize the implications and the effects that the drug had on them on their tour and on their long-term health today.
Mm-hmm.
Do we normally? Oh, sorry, Dean.
No. I'm trying to suss out why and how we transfer this to all the alt-right stuff and the things that we're seeing in Jeremy McKenzie.
So let me get there.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think we will.
I'll make that nexus. I'll make that nexus. Yes.
Please do, and we're going to do that in just a second. But so they give all this shit out to a certain group of people, going to be on the ground, started in Somalia. I read another article that said they could hear the screams of a lot of the servicemen and women who were on the ground who had to take this for a couple of weeks at night, like anxiety, stress, night terrors. Like it was like almost, this sounds terrible, but it was almost like a work camp at night when people were dealing with, the fallout or the side effects from taking this, and nobody knew what they were, but they kept telling you guys, no, you're fine, no big deal. Did you go through that as well?
Absolutely, and plus that alcohol. So back in those days, alcohol was still readily available to the troops. So here we were supposed to be monitored for effects. We were supposed to be provided informed consent forms, and we were supposed to be, and all of this material as part of the safety monitoring study was supposed to be given to Health Canada. Now, when the manufacturer Roche came to the Canadian Armed Forces when this all blew up with the Somalia affair and said, "Where's all the paperwork?" The Canadian Armed Forces, or Health Canada, then went to the Canadian Armed Forces and said, the manufacturer Roche is looking for all of this clinical protocol information and administration. And the Canadian Armed Forces then dug their heels in and said, no, we never considered ourselves co-investigator of the drug. In this tour, there's no way we could have dispensed the drug under the product guidelines and the stated scope of use. So they ran. And so ultimately, the Auditor General of Canada, in conclusion with the Somalia affair, and here's the nexus, because the Chrétien government has shut down the Somalia Commission of Inquiry, they shut it down prior to Mefloquin effects on the tour being able to be examined. They made this statement: for the troops that we are examining for the behaviors here in Somalia on this tour may be partly or totally excused for their behavior if they were involuntarily intoxicated with Mefloquin poisoning. And so now long-term, as I see in my 6 years, through my advocacy, it's story after story after story of veteran that is being labeled as a malcontent or disgruntled or a malingerer, treatment-resistant, does not want to deal with transitioning back to society, is too institutionalized. They are not having that operational exposure, that symptomatic exposure to the drug being recognized. And for clinicians and service providers who are treating these, they share the ignorance. They share the ignorance of what Mefloquin is and its neuropsychiatric impact in the long-term health on veterans. If you have a veteran on the wrong treatment plan, you exacerbate their conditions, you get poorer outcomes. And of course, this leads to a cycle of despair, suicide, or a cycle of disgruntlement or depersonalization or disassociation from society, because society refuses to accept their conditions, the problems they face, their comorbidities in service-connected injuries. And of course, they may have lost their job. This may be one of the last things that occurs. And then when someone who is completely ignorant of what they're going through here's an abrasive rant from them, it is too easy to throw them in that basket, of deplorables, or that disgruntled person, that agitator who's on the lunatic fringes of society and would want to be anti-vaxxer, this or that. They have a lived experience of being a guinea pig, and now a government acting with impunity. There is no compensation or recognition of their symptoms.
John, can I ask you if part of the reason why it's been so difficult to sort of like nail down, research on the effects of this drug and things like that is because it wasn't actually developed by Roche. I think and I'm learning this today, they bought the patent from U.S. Army researchers that developed the drug for Vietnam use. And so I'm curious.
Yeah, so they did not buy it. It was given to them for free. And that has raised quite a level of consternation internationally in the community of why the drug would have been given away to Hoffmann La Roche for free from Rare, Walter Reed Institute, that did develop this drug in America. And that patent was given to Roche for free. Hoffmann La Roche, almost impossible to sue, who then made millions selling off the patent. As a matter of fact,
I stand corrected. That's a really interesting point, actually, because I don't know if that lets off the U.S. Army for any potential legal issues in the future.
What lets them off the hook is the Ferris document. So service people cannot sue their government for harms during service. They have a different system where their Veterans Affairs group, their Veterans Affairs hospitals, provides compensation and treatment pathways.
Okay.
We're different here in Canada, where we're reliant. If our Veterans Affairs does not recognize, we have to be reliant upon a legal remedy in the courts.
Do you think that Chrétien was sort of protecting American military? Is there like, I mean, because Canada-U.S. relations are complex enough for him to want to take the potential level lawsuit against the U.S. military for this drug. Like, do you think that had a role?
Yes, as we see with those bad actors being exposed with the sexual assault, sexual harassment, BIPOC issues in the Canadian Armed Forces, and as we peel back the layers and see these bad actors who have perpetuated these moral and unethical actions, we also have learned where they're tied in with the medical hierarchy with CAPMAT, the Canadian Advisory on Tropical Medicine and Travel, the subunit which works with the Public Health Agency of Canada, the subunit that works with Health Canada. And so with the Somalia Commission of Inquiry, they had unpeeled those bad actors in the Canadian Armed Forces, which leads to the Surgeon General, who gets his consult, because he's not an expert in everything, he gets his consult from the public health agencies that he is entrusted to direct or give them guidance for their medical policies for international deployments. So when it got to Health Canada, when it got to CAPMAT, when it got to several people who were receiving direct patronage in their research and who had come out and kept defending Mefloquin, kept saying, no, it is not the drug, it's PTSD, it's the person who had a bad childhood uprearing, and were able to gaslight these adverse events that would crop up from 1993 up until, say, 2005 and 6, where the world now had experienced all these deleterious effects of this dangerous neurotoxicant, and a flood of information had been provided, and nations were beginning to act. And by 2009, when the U.S. Army themselves, their own drug that they created, banned it for special forces and other units because they could not dispense it in a safe manner, which is where I got back to that load dosing with us in Somalia.
And they just shoved it in you guys too, right?
Or could not understand that these weird, crazy behaviors weren't just bad people, but effects of the drug. hyperaggression, paranoia, anxiety, disassociation, depersonalization, all these things, and which cascades into later on depression, cycle of despair, not being understood, which then has led to the rate of our suicides. I just got this from Dr. Nancy Oliveri here in Toronto.
I love her.
She's awesome.
She's incredible.
Her and I have been sharing information for a while, and she recently shared to me the rate of veteran suicides from 2000 up to 2015. 2015. This is the era of Afghanistan. The rate, age adjusted, for suicide rates rose 40%. We have an incredible veteran suicide rate globally, so much so that Australia, and it will include Mefloquin, has a Royal Commission of Inquiry into veteran suicides today. My colleagues, we speak internationally, which leads to Jeremy McKenzie being so angry at Mark Slapinski in his slight towards Australians who have been funneled into their various symptoms and exposed to Mefloquin into these more lunatic, fringe, anti-vaxxer movements, feeling like they have a family or they're understood that they have vaccine hesitancy because of their lived experiences. They are looking into this, but Canada, again, is still dug in,
not interested
because of litigation. That's how this, and Canada does not have awareness of what we're facing. And as people like Jeremy McKenzie crop up and go off the wall, he's easy to label.
Yeah. And it's easy to destroy family with that label. It's easy to destroy his kids with that label. It's easy to destroy his parents with that label. It's easy for people like us. Yeah, it's easy for people like us. And listen, the genesis of this conversation started. We're talking about a guy named Jeremy McKenzie. I've shared a couple of really nice emails with him. He went off on Mark Slapinski, who we also do some work with from Toronto 99. Now, let me just kind of give you the Coles Notes version. They go after each other. First, Mark is going after all the lunatics in Australia. Mark, and we know Australia is having an issue. And by and large, it's something that we've been doing as well. We've been doing it with this big blanket where we put over everybody, and we're saying, hey, listen, if you're not getting vaccinated, you're a fucking idiot, which I still firmly believe because I've read the source material. We have doctors on. We put researchers on to discuss this. This is very different. It's not the same. You
Get
too.
Vaccinated.
Johnny's vaccinated. Johnny Dow's vaccinated. And this
guy... Get vaccinated. I'm saying get vaccinated. Get vaccinated. Yeah, I have an appointment with a cardiologist, so I can go ahead and enjoy my vaccination first.
There you go. Johnny's interested. He wants to get it done.
I'm not interested. Intended.
Johnny's getting it. And he's been through this ringer, right? So there's some courage there that's really hard to understand from our perspective, because if I'd been through the darkness that you've just described, I would probably be very much against the idea of vaccination. And I would also be a little fucking triggered by people going, you're a pussy, go get vaccinated after spending 14 years protecting this country, being forced to take a bunch of medicine that's made me lose my fucking mind. So that part of this is really, really important to me. This is the video that set me off, and it's how we got involved, because this is the video that Jeremy put out, Jeremy McKenzie, 14-year veteran of this country. He is part of this Mefloquin stuff, right? What's that?
Mass tort action. Yeah.
So he's involved in this mass tort action. You've spoken with him. We'll get to that in just a second, but this is the clip that did it, that said, because I went all in. I'm like, hey, who is this guy? Let's dunk on him and make him feel like shit. And then he was. I'm just telling the truth.
I keep telling you not to do that, but go ahead.
My initial reaction was the same, and then I'm like, oh wait, and I went and did my homework.
Yeah. So and we were lucky enough that John reached out to Ryan, and then Ryan reached out to me, and he said, hold off sewering the guy. Let's get to the bottom of what he's dealing with first, which not many organizations do, but we were happy to do it because we support our veterans. Here's the actual clip of Jeremy real quick, and then we'll
fucking zombies and interact with them, and they're gonna say stupid fucking shit. We need our own society. This can't go on. Rumble PPC says, I'm in Toronto and Mark Slapinski is a Cirque. He 100% is. He's the same guy who owns Toronto 99 News, and he was so happy seeing freedom fighters get the beatdown from Aussie cops. Yeah, well, goes around, comes around, doesn't it? Slapinski! You should be way more careful when you take, selfies and videos. This just goes for everyone, not just Slapinski. But especially what's in your background, your immediate area. You can identify other buildings and what floor you may or may not be on, and the streets and so on. It's really easy to find people that way. So I would urge everyone to take that into consideration when they take selfies and videos of themselves, and also being a massive, massive piece of shit. That it's a lot easier to find people than you think.
So, veiled warning. I know where he got the information from, where Mark lives. There's this little group of other veterans that are out there thinking they're protecting the world. They're all caught up in the same thing. Explain him to me, because I had a nice conversation with him. I said, hey, listen, deal's off. I'm not coming after you. We're going to try and take part in your mental wellness and your journey towards that. And he was really nice. He sent back a nice note saying you're in good hands with John. So there appears to be a spirit of contrition. But let me just say this. If I'm him and I'm on you, I absolutely am not trusting the government to put anything in my body. That much I get.
Yeah, so two things. First off, two things. What he's talking about, Jeremy McKenzie, there is situational awareness. It's just a basic thing that is taught right from the beginning of military service. Be aware of what street you're on, where you are, what's going on around you. But when you're also transmitting, be aware of your backdrop and stuff. And so people can't track you down. That's basic situational awareness. But basically he was going off and he was triggered upset because he felt Slapinski was slighting his colleagues in Australia. And we're all very tight. We talk to each other regularly in the United Kingdom and Australia and Canada. We all share the same concerns. And we also share the same lived experience of being compelled, mandated, to take a drug which then affected our long-term health. Yet we are denied acknowledgement that it happened. We are denied compensation, and we are denied a treatment pathway to better ourselves. And this, for quite a few veterans, as this has been happening for years, other countries acknowledging it and saying, right, we did wrong here. Let's screen everybody who took the drug. Let's find out how they're doing and their long-term health today. And let's provide them with a treatment pathway and compensation for the action of denying them the inability to discontinue this. That leaves a lot of disgruntlement and anger. And then when someone feels left behind, left out of society, misunderstood, that's how they gravitate, as we know, towards these more fringe groups. And where's the fringe group right now? The anti-vaxxers, wherein they should embrace the science and our scientific leaders, wherein they should have had the capacities, the rationale to understand that, yes, Canada had a difficult vaccine rollout. Their messaging was problematic, and we had difficulties honing down this novel coronavirus and how to best deal with it and what the rollout would be and what it would look like. Well, for a great number of veterans who are dealing with comorbidities of mental illness, PTSD, head injuries, which Jeremy has, with quinism, the long-term impacts of the drug, which Jeremy presents with, and is part of the litigation of, when you have all these things, they can't rationalize. They end up in these groups. It's then easy to label them. They take off with that. They're already disassociated from society. The reason this didn't occur to me is because when I began in 2014 to take a look at my long-term health and my service history and Mefloquin, I was warned to by a friend. I'm an autodidact. I consume. And I was able to understand the science and the emerging literature. And I was able to gather veterans' experiences from our Commonwealth nations. And I was able also to detect and learn about the various quiet litigations and wins about providing acknowledgement and compensation for the drug. Mm-hmm. When that occurred, I then knew for Canada, because of the Somalia affair, because of what had happened with the Canadian Airborne Regiment in 1993, there was only going to be one way that we were going to get action in Canada, to bring awareness of this, to understand these veterans are dealing with mental illness, but it looks like something else. It mimics something else.
Well, and that's
We knew that large scale.
listen,
We only knew that large scale public pressure, along with pending political implications and legal and litigation, was going to find satisfaction for us, which is where we are now. Sorry.
Okay, no, don't be sorry. I'm glad that
it's very lengthy answers. It's a very lengthy issue.
It's not. It's new, dude. And even though it's not new, it's new. Like, you know, where you're talking 1990 to 1990, whatever, and then radio silence. And this is the first time hearing about it. And the only reason we're hearing about it is because you cared enough about an individual to say, hey, listen, we got to work together for the greater good of this person because this person is not right. And
so my role today as co-founder of the International Mefloquin Veterans Alliance is to find people like Jeremy McKenzie who are cast out on the fringes, some of them speaking out and saying, giving them awareness. Did you take this drug? This might affect you. Consider it. Talk to your doctor. Here's the medical information. So Jeremy is just of a long line.
Yeah, but does Jeremy not have to be accountable though in those
he's unique. He's unique that he has a platform. He's got 15,000 people on Instagram, and he caught the eye of Slapinski.
Yeah.
But this is happening in the family courts already. And veterans are being denied parental custodial rights and stuff because they think it's PTSD or they're just bad actors, as opposed to having a legitimate mental illness that they can't be spoken up for of. So my role today is to speak up for all of those that have been left and fallen through the gaps.
And that's why you're here. So I wanted to have you on. But we can't ignore these behaviors. Like we can find reasons for them to understand them, but the behaviors as dictated with what we just saw, you call it situational awareness. To a layman, that's a threat. I just saw. And that's how it's interpreted. On top of wanting to have his own society, on top of some of the literature he's been telling people to read, there are leanings and things that he has done and other people in these alt-right circles that have suffered from being abused by their government, being abused by the Health Canada. And I get that. And I'm saying, hey, listen, I'm here to understand what it is they're going through so that I am not taking a strip off of these guys every single time they act untowards to the greater good, because the greater good that they're impeding is the vaccination and the understanding of legitimate science. And they're doing it because they're not mentally well, which is something that we've said several times. To not understand this process or to not be involved in it, you have to have two things going for you. One is you got to be cognitively delayed, which means you're not smart enough to understand it. The second one is you have to be mentally unwell. And I see a lot of that in this community. And going to understand it, are you, and I already know the answer, I'm just asking for the answer so you can share it with everybody, saying that these people should be given a pass or should they be held accountable for their actions, even though they have, several brain injuries. They've got a long-term Mefloquin issues. They've got PTSD. They've got paranoia. They've got all kinds of legitimate mental issues, and we're passing that off almost like, but he's in Somalia, he took a bunch of drugs, fucked him up and stuff like that. It almost seems like, hey, listen, we're going to hold everybody to account. We need to hold everybody to account. Does it not?
Yes. And so that is such a great point. And I'm always the one to espouse that anybody suffering mental illness, whether it be post-traumatic stress disorder, sexual assault, whatever it may be, the origins, that it's never a get out of jail free card. And as we see in society, when people have behaved, when their behaviors have been harmful to others, we must protect those that are or potentially or have been harmed. And that applies as well with those that are mentally ill. And when we see this factored into sentencing or consideration of judges every day in the courts, they must weigh in the factors of mental illness. Mm-hmm. Another point is this: in the absence of understanding some of our modern veterans and their operational exposures, people are left to speculate that they're just bad actors or of bad character, and it's easy to label them and apply them with groups that are reprehensible. But anybody who goes out and behaves in a harmful way to anyone, be it mental illness or whatnot, must always be accountable. Yes,
Okay.
but with that accountability must come an understanding of what promoted or promulgated the event.
I like it. Mark Slapinski joins us, by the way. Mark's kind enough to drop in. Mark Slapinski, ladies and gentlemen, Toronto 99. John Dowe. We're just talking about you. We're just talking about you, right?
Wait, we can't not acknowledge that Anchorman entrance that he just had. Did you not see his air spin when he came? That was beautiful. That was beautiful, Slaps.
Hey, Slap, we're just talking about that sweet Anchorman chair spin that you just did from your computer over to the oh, now he's fucking gone again. Dude, he was right there. Now he's gone. Look at that. Oh, here he comes again. You good? Do we got you? You good?
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Hey, I got it. Yeah, Mark Slapinski, meet John Dowe. We're just talking about you. We're talking about Jeremy McKenzie. We're talking about Mefloquin. We're talking about why he's so reticent. And I know John wanted to have you on the podcast, so I'm really glad you made time for us today. But have you been paying attention to any of this? Have you been watching it a little bit?
I've just been going back and forth. What I caught was a little bit about the military and distrust of the government. I didn't watch the whole thing, but that's what I caught when I briefly looked at it.
Yeah. So why don't we start with this, Mark? What did you take offense to when it came to Jeremy, and how did you guys hook up? How did this whole thing start?
Okay, so I guess in the last maybe couple months, especially the last few weeks, I've taken a very hard line against anti-vaxxers and made some comments about that either on my personal page or on the blog page or the news page, and and I guess I wasn't as nice about it as I usually am. And I think one of them made their way to Jeremy, which I guess we're talking about. I think what happened was there was that one video I had with the kids with the guns that we talked about earlier that I attached some other videos to. That went viral. A bunch of right-wing influencers started sharing it. So I assume that through one of them, Jeremy found it, or someone else found it and passed it to Jeremy. And then he made that comment about, oh, I know how to find this guy. Basically talked about OSINT, open source intelligence, where you can look at where someone is and try to triangulate their location. So that's what he brought up. I saw that at the very least as a thinly veiled thread. He wasn't overt about it, but based on his history and based on what I've been able to read about him, I would it's a cause for concern. I mean, I'm not really too scared. I'm not, looking over my shoulder kind of thing, but it's just the principle that someone would say that, especially one thing I pointed out is I'm really not that big, right? I mean, I only have a little over 2,000 followers, 3,000 on the other page. So I don't see myself as being super influential or anything like that. So it's interesting that they've, at least a few people have kind of zeroed in on me specifically.
But what did if you kid John, you spoke to Jeremy, what did he take offense to that Mark insinuated?
The greatest offense. Oh, by the way, Mark, thank you very much for coming onto the program. My aim here is to raise awareness of this emergent disease, this mental illness, amongst a sizable minority of our modern day Canadian veterans. So thank you for coming on, because you're going to learn about that along with other Canadians.
Okay.
Jeremy's biggest offense was the labeling, the false labeling, the character assassination of him being specifically neo-Nazi. And for people who serve our country, it can be quite triggering to have that label applied, because the spirit of Jeremy and a great number of those who serve is to fight against of that whole thought, ideology, or way of being or ethos. It's counterintuitive to who they are or what they believe. So it triggered him. And more harmfully, if you, as someone who is in the media, who understands the media apparatus, can have the ability to use force multipliers to then successfully apply this false label, this false label to Jeremy McKenzie, then him, not just him, but his family then has to deal with it. His children, school, they run into it at school. He might lose his job. We know the ramifications that can occur to a doxing or whatnot. Second part, anti-vaxxer or strident anti-vaxxing. We must remember with people like Jeremy McKenzie who have a lived experience, a harmed lived experience of being mandated or compelled to take a drug for their good and then suffered the deleterious effects and then were denied an avenue of compensation or an approach or a treatment pathway, like it didn't even exist. And the government acts with impunity on it and looks the other way. He is marginalized. A great number of Canadian modern veterans today who suffer from mental illness through their operational stressors are under a misdiagnosis that their symptomatic exposure to drugs like Mefloquin have caused. When they go off the rails, per se, when they start to have beliefs, when they find family in these fringe groups that easily and readily accepts them, because they're just numbers, they fall into those groups, these baskets of deplorables, if we want to use a Clinton-esque phrase.
Can I interject for 1 second, John, and just give Mark the
have their characters
opportunity
assassinated
to
in the media?
actually respond?
And that's
to
the
all
biggest part
information
that
he's
Jeremy
got on
wants
back.
to have highlighted here on the Blundell show today. I'm done. Thanks. Go ahead, Mark.
No problem. Mark, go ahead.
Okay, so in regards to the neo-Nazi aspect, I was actually citing the anti-hate networks. This is someone that's come up before with if it's not directly neo-Nazism, it's pretty close in the sense that he's been caught saying things that are anti-Semitic. He's been part of other far-right groups. His
lawyers are Jewish, most of them.
Yeah, but listen, I've looked into this young man, and I'm going to be judicious about how I talk about him. Mark's not wrong. Dude espouses
in some ways,
he espouses far right shit all the time. He's out there telling everybody that what his experience should be everybody's experience. He's out there all the time taking giant shits on the process, and I know why now. But what I'm saying is like, listen, Jeremy said what he said, and he's not like, it's not just Mark Slapinski going after him. It is a variety of organizations and individuals who share this opinion that Mark shares. So, Mark, if you could continue, go ahead.
Yeah, so my understanding is that he has, on multiple occasions, I guess it depends how you define Nazism, but he's espoused, far-right anti-Semitic views on multiple occasions, and that's been documented, I think, by the Anti-Hate Network, as well as the Anti-Racist blog, which I think was an earlier form of that. I don't want to have it right here, but I could pull it up for maybe next time. And there was a few different things, and he's it's been like a history of bad behavior. So, I mean, if he's not, let's put him in the neo-Nazi category, he's pretty close with at least what I've seen with the anti-Semitism and these other kind of he talks about like race wars, and he's talked about killing journalists before. So it seems like he's right up in that whole white supremacist movement at the very least.
And these are things like this is like throw it up in the air and watch it come down. We talked about it in the last podcast, right? Like, someone says something that triggers somebody, someone else takes exception to it, and then it turns into this fucking joke, which this is. I mean, we're talking about a dude with mental health issues. We're talking about a reporter who's actually very good at his job, who in any other scenario, if there is no pandemic, I can tell you something. Mark Slapinski would be advocating on behalf of Jeremy and yourself and all 1,700 litigants involved in this Mefloquin thing. And I said that to Jeremy in a text. Like, listen, I'm on the side of fucking humanity here. Mark's a human being, and he's got a guy like Jeremy who's dealing with what he's dealing with, but it doesn't take away the sting or the illegality of what Jeremy is engaging with. He's been deplatformed for a reason. He is putting out these things on his own for a reason. He won't stop for a reason, and he won't stop because he's mentally unwell. So how, in your opinion, John, how do people like us, when we see this kind of stuff and we're like, hey, listen, this is not right, this is a lie, you should go get vaccinated? Do we have to plaster warnings on it for everybody? And are we supposed to just pretend that, the alt-right guys from the military, because they served for us, should get a pass? Like, how are we in the media, or we're not media, how are we in the blog world supposed to deal with this kind of stuff in terms of us feeling like we've got a responsibility for the greater good to be able to tell people, hey, listen, don't listen to that cat?
Here's how. great question. Once Canada addresses the multiple reasons for the mental unwellness of a great number of our veterans and addresses this, and these veterans seek services, they're going to get better. All right? They're going to get better. And when we understand just how the impact of this drug has on their thought trains and the way they think and the way they feel, from vaccine hesitancy onto the fringe, it's never a get out of jail card. It's reasoning and understanding. So with that understanding comes an ability for people to rationalize it and go, okay, he's unwell. I would understand and would choose to ignore this person and what they say, just like I would another person dealing with mental illness for, say, a car injury. You individuals, Canadians, are smart enough to determine whether they agree or disagree with something and turn the channel, turn the page. But Canadians don't understand how the comorbidity, the entwined injuries for a post-traumatic stress disorder, a traumatic brain injury, and a chemical intoxication, a poisoning for life, chronic quinoline encephalopathy is the term, then they're left to misunderstand.
Can
They're
we
left
boil
to
down,
judge,
John?
prejudge.
Can we boil down something? Because I just want to know, like, this might sound like it's a cynical question, but I swear to you it isn't. But you seem to be suggesting that maybe this particular drug causes people to become bigoted. Like, is the drug taking something that was already there and just exacerbating
they don't
it?
become,
or is it,
so,
hold on a second.
Yeah.
Is it just like, is it doing something to him that just, like, by luck of the draw happens to be targeting the same people as, like, maybe the alt-right or white supremacists might label? Like, why is that a cause and effect?
Okay, very good question. So what you're asking, the big word is what are the pharmacocharacteristics, or what are the pharmacokinetic effects characterized in people who take the drug? Does it make them bigoted is the reductionist way of asking. No, much in the same way as if you just took the pill, it would lead you to complete suicide directly. No, it leads to that area because for people who have mental illness, they've lost the mental capacities of reason and understanding. So areas of the brain that are effective, thought and reasoning, to understand the shit that's being programmed into them from these fringe societal groups where they're so easily plucked into and misled and become believers of. It's the same for cults. So cults look for cult. They look for people. They look for people that are vulnerable populations. And veterans who suffer from operational exposures fall into that category. They've lost these mental abilities, these capacities. And so when they fall into or accepted into these fringe groups, they begin to accept the program or are easily programmed into and are led into bigotry. They are led into these groups which are now become exclusionary to others because they feel they have a family now, people that understand them. Meanwhile, they're just being exploited.
Is that the guy in the comments, Dean?
Yeah, so I'm just waiting to get to it. Thanks for bringing it up. I appreciate it, dude. It's so Jeremy is actually commenting. And we'll get to the comments. He's raging dissident too. He says we're being ridiculous, as you know, we've been trying to help the guy. Then he says, I've been deplatformed for the same reasons you agreed with in private emails, Dean. You were a liar. I don't know what that means. I thought we had a nice exchange. I think he's talking about the anti-hate network. I fucking hate the anti-hate network too, and I think that's what he's referring to, and which I did say, hey, listen, we're aligned. I fucking hate those guys.
Whoa. Say that one more time. What?
Oh, we shared an email because he thinks he was deplatformed and skewered by the Canadian anti-hate network, and I would agree with him. It's what they do. I mean, it's just something that they like to do. Their methods and their processes are fucking terrible. That's my opinion. But he then goes on to say, and I quote, "We are a room full of grown men talking about him like he's not here, and he can't speak for himself." And then he calls Slapinski a snake. Tell the truth, Slapinski, you snake. And then he gave us the oh no, that was his buddy Dylan. Says we suck. And then hey Marky, get ready to be sued. So we've spent 55 minutes and 3 seconds trying to help the guy out. And this is
okay. That's normal.
No, but this is what I'm saying is this is why people like us go, you know what? fucking throw them in the same basket.
Right. You're left with a bad taste in your mouth. I completely understand that. And that's the problem, is that these veterans, you know, they're so abrasive, some of them, and they're so off the wall, and so their views, they espouse views which are so reprehensible that they're almost beyond salvation to you. And you're like, I don't want to bother with this person.
Well, no, dude, I could care less.
It.
I mean, I'm here to do the right thing regardless of
doing that.
What's that?
Yeah.
We've been here for 56 minutes doing that.
And not only that, but is having him on doing him any favors?
Probably not.
If you invited him on, I don't know if you did, but he did send him that link, and
I would say no.
And we're waiting for him to click it. Right. But then are we denying him his chance to rebut the things that we've said? It's a really tricky question.
Well, we can't have him on because we're going to get deplatformed if we put him on. Like, if we put this guy on our YouTube channel, everybody's going to complain. And then, like the Canadian Anti-Hate Network, which I fucking hate, and then we're going to get our things taken away, and we're not going to be able to talk to people, and this whole process is for nothing. But it's funny because like it keeps coming out of the woodwork. Like these are coming from him and his ilk. Like we've got a couple hundred people watching now because of it. One guy says, "Yeah, you're disgusting," and then he comes back with, "You're referring to me as a white supremacist neo-Nazi. Is that helping me? LOL." And there's another one. Ask me if I'm drunk. I haven't drank for 4 years, but thanks a lot, big fella. And then another one of his friends. This guy's all over the place. You guys are disgusing. Like, we've literally sat here for 56 minutes to try and help the guys. We are disgusting. Yeah, I know.
Did you hear old Locke yesterday and his skin tags?
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
But
Disgusting.
to my point is, we're happy to have the conversation, and as we're doing it, all of these guys are coming in here to try to, like, I don't know if they think they're putting me off my game or if they think they're being misrepresented poorly, but we've gone an extra hour to try and understand where they're coming from, and they still won't stop because they're not here, man. Like, these guys aren't here, in my opinion. They're not part of society, whether it's their fault or not. They've taken themselves out of it.
Yes. Yeah. So a great number of veterans already feel quite marginalized over the years with various public policies in regards to their treatment and compensation, and all sorts of issues that have seen crop up in the military, from pensions to wait times, disability, presumption of injuries, an overly litigious Veterans Affairs bureaucracy, a revolving door ministry. So they're already marginalized as it is. And you know, the fleas come with the dog. We want to help these people. You know what I'm saying? We want to love these people. We want to help these people.
Yeah.
But you just got to accept those fleas, and you just got to be. You know, it's like that.
Sweet fleas.
You know, it's just it comes with it, with the understanding and the empathy. And lordy, do you have to have empathy for these people? And also, a great number of these people who may be dealing with this, they themselves don't want to admit, or fearful of admitting, or maybe they have a job still and don't want to lose the job, or they're worried about the stigma attached. And veterans are already suffering from stigmas from their operational exposures.
Well, they're creating their own stigma here too. It's like reinforcing the reinforceable.
And in cases with Jeremy, 100%, he's not helping his cause.
No, he hit us with this one too. It was a nice one. Talking about me like I'm mentally ill, deranged, and a train wreck white supremacist helping you gutless. I don't even know what that means. But that's literally what John's saying, is you have a mental problem, and it has been caused by a myriad of things, and we're trying to understand it, Jeremy. And I know you're watching because I haven't blocked you yet. But like we're trying to understand what you're going through. We have sympathy for veterans. We have sympathy for the mentally ill. Therefore, we're talking about you, yes, being mentally ill. And the reason why we're talking about it is because John is here and he's assessed the situation, and you're presenting a whole bunch of different issues, and you are doing exactly what this guy who's fighting for you, as are we for our veterans, you're doing exactly what he tells you not to do. So whatever. I mean,
and let me add here, as we know today, quinism, chronic quinoline encephalopathy, is idiosyncratic. Okay, so it's on a spectrum. You could be a little affected, or you could be heavily affected. You can be, you can have some small mood disorders. You could be affected interneuronally to severe range for some individuals. And that's what we're trying to tease out today with independent research. is
Yeah.
where is it PTSD, where is it traumatic brain injury, and where is it quinism? Now, what we have found is very discrete fingerprinting, where there are some neurological aspects of this that can pinpoint things, but we're very early. We're in our infancy with this. And so a number of veterans don't understand it, don't want to admit to it, don't even understand how to apply it in their histology, in their medical history.
Yeah, but how do you take, when you're helping these guys, like this guy's calling you clueless. He's calling us all clueless, so I'm assuming he's calling you clueless. Like, does it make you still want to help?
Oh, probably not. He'll probably never speak to me again, but I can't help that. My role is to spread awareness of quinism, to make people understand what we're dealing with, the individual and Canadians.
You do a really good job of, by the way. You really do.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and for you guys, and to accept avenues, opportunities, like what you guys provide today to do this role. And I do understand there's always a backfire effect. There's cognitive bias to what the intake of this information for a great number of veterans. It's complex, and they shut down. And then they don't want to, it takes a while for a great number of people to fully implement the understanding of what we're dealing with. And that's like for any injury. And then when you have the stigmatized approach of mental illness, it's even worse to what was once a very proud warrior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I get that part of it. Still got time for it. John Dowe, John Dowe 49 on Twitter is where you can find him. If you're a man or woman who has served in the military and you have had any issues, and if you are part or want to be part of getting this government to be accountable to our veterans and their mental health, and whether it's Mefloquin or not, I assume people can just reach out to you on Twitter at John Dowe, DOWE 49, correct?
You betcha. That's my handle.
Okay. John, appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your help. Thanks.
You guys are awesome. I really appreciate it. It's a very complex issue. It's hard to unpack in just one show, but you guys were courageous in trying. And I wish the best for Jeremy McKenzie. I congratulate and thank Mark Slapinski for coming on the program so that we can discuss this in an amiable way. And have a great afternoon, gentlemen.
Thanks, brother. Good to see you. John Dowe, ladies and gentlemen. This is where you can find him. You okay, Mark? You good now?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah. Were you put off by the whole? Were you scared at all by the whole thing?
Not really. Just a little unprepared. There's a few things I could have brought up to defend my position there. I'll just quote the. Just give me 1 sec.
Yeah, please.
I'll tell my brother and my cousins and my uncle to leave the comments now. We were doing that for ratings. It was fine.
Okay.
You trying to get all your family. These are all your family telling us to fuck off?
Yeah, I gave him a script. It was great. Everything's good.
Well, it says, Jeremy McKenzie tells followers to accelerate. There's a race war in America, calls for violence against journalists, parliament, and latest live stream. So that's what the bloggers have done is like he posts some pretty outrageous stuff, right? Like he's called for violence, called for people to be hung, anti-Semitic, the whole bag, right?
You posted something, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, about shipping off anti-vaxxers or the unvaccinated to work camps. I'm just wondering how you feel like doesn't the left never really call themselves out? I'm not sure if you're on the left, but you know what I mean? Like a progressive position. Wasn't that kind of inflammatory as well? Aren't you just sort of doing the same thing, but on the other side?
Yeah, I mean, with that, I think I went a bit too far with that one. I've been going sort of back and forth.
I like that you say that, though. That's refreshing.
Slappy,
really
this is what I wanted to talk to you about. Like I told you, hey, let's have a conversation, because as soon as I saw that, I sent you a text, and I'm like, hey, dude, I don't think this is going to help you. I mean, you're your own man. Do whatever you want, but concentration camp videos are going to help you.
Is this deadpan? I can't tell if this is deadpan.
But we all make mistakes. Like we all make mistakes, and that's my point. Is Mark did something and it was strong, and he reconsidered it and he took it back. He made a mistake. These guys continue to make mistakes and they continue to pound. Like they don't stop. Sorry, Mark, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, that was I'd say an errant judgment. I don't think that came across the way I wanted it to. I've been basically just putting out stuff and then getting them to respond, essentially. I mean, there's a conspiracy theory on their side where they believe that they actually are going to be eventually sent to camps and that this is going to end up like the Holocaust. So I feel like I was sort of playing on that, but I can see how that went too far. So when Dean brought that up, I was like, okay, just take it down.
Yeah.
So that's sort of what happened. But
Yeah.
just for the record, no, I don't believe I'm being that hard on them. I mean, I think to clarify, I think a lot of people that are against the vaccine are otherwise good people that have just kind of fallen down the wrong rabbit hole, or they don't trust the government. So I don't think taking too strong an approach like that would work. But at the same time, I also believe that we need to be firm at the same time. So, I mean, when we're putting pressure on them through their jobs, or, maybe they can't, eat out or go to this restaurant, I think that's something that I would approve of. And it's one of those things, I think the irony, or maybe the funny thing about what I said, is that once people are vaccinated, they're no longer anti-vaxxers, and then they're a part of society. I want them to be a part of society. I want, a lot of these people kind of just to get vaccinated and then kind of step back and say, you know what, maybe I was wrong about this. And maybe these other conspiracies, maybe they're wrong too, right? Because I've seen it's happened. I mean, people that were like right into QAnon realized, oh wait, this doesn't make sense. And then they look at another part, they say, oh, this doesn't make sense. And then eventually it kind of crashes down. They're like, oh, this whole thing was junk. So, that's kind of what I'm going for, just to be clear,
Well, dude, hey, listen, I get it. You're trying to go out and get a rush. You're trying to get people to look at your stuff. This is what we do. I mean, that's why these guys are all over our comments section. It is absolutely fucking a toilet in our comments section right now. Like, legitimately a toilet. Oh, dude, it's funny. Like, these guys have all been coming after me because I know they're full of shit. And listen, it's not just veterans. Like, we got anti-vaxxers in here. We got crazy bastards going. Because one guy was like today, he's like, I want to debate you. He's been asking to debate me. I still don't know his name. Doesn't matter, because I mute everybody, right? The second someone acts like a fucking loser, I go, mute. And so I never see it. Like, it's just fucking because I don't care. And so this guy's like, I really want to debate you because he's got like a few thousand followers on Twitter. He needs a big bump. He's looking for attention. And I'm like, no problem. 10 grand. Give me 10 grand. And he's like, and then he's all over because he's looking for a bump. This guy, his Matrix World Report. That's fun. Dean wants 10 grand to speak to me, but gets slappers on his show. LOL, how weak. Dude, I don't care about you. Like, I really don't care about you. I care about veterans and people that actually have a reason to be fucking stupid or mentally disturbed, right? Like, that was an eye-opening conversation. But if you're just one of those little fucking losers that likes to bomb around YouTube and leave funny comments, I don't care about you. Nobody does. That's why you're coming to me and I'm not coming to you. Because when you come to me, it means that you want something from me. And generally speaking, it's attention. And Mark, it's the same with you. It's the same. They want your attention because you get millions of views every month on your Twitter feed. You attract these things, and you know how to go out and get content. I would leave the concentration stuff like at home, but I mean, you do you, right? You do you.
Leave it in the cattle car, Mark.
Oh man! As soon as I saw that, I was like, "What's that?"
Slapinski's list. Is that too
No.
far? That's a little too far. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, just put that get a little like sticky note thing, and put it on your fridge. And it's like, don't do that again.
I'll probably do it again.
You'll be great. You'll be great. Speaking of dummies, have you guys seen this Chris? Have you seen the Chris Sky video from Nanaimo?
Can I just go for a smoke?
Slapinski, you got to stick around for this. You got to stick around for this.
Yeah.
So he goes to Nanaimo this weekend, breaks into a fucking Canadian Tire with a whole bunch of people because that's what you do, right? Like you go to Canadian Tire. So yeah, he's chopping it up. But after, like, and I'm like, fuck, I'm not even paying attention to it. And it's all happening last night. And I'm like, who gives a shit? Like, fucking, the dude just walked into Canadian Tire with like 30 unemployed people and was like, to housewares. And, like, fuck, who cares? So, like, it was just funny to me. Like, and he got frosted tips for the day and everything. He did his hair and stuff. But it was prior to the actual flash mob of a Canadian Tire. I'm sorry, it's too funny.
I'm gonna assume that crowd might have been a little bigger if this pre-rally didn't happen.
I'm going to surprise you guys about the pre-rally speech, but go ahead, Dean.
Okay, because James, you're going to come in handy here. Slapinski, I'm glad you're here for this as well, because you are triggering the shit out of people in the comment section. It's the best. Anyway, so here's the thing. This is Chris Sky He arrives to his, he's in a gazebo in Nanaimo, beautiful gazebo. And this is him addressing people that have literally come there to see him talk about himself. Yeah. Yeah. Listen for the part where he said he might refuse to sell the merch. This is fucking unbelievable.
Okay, I'll tell you, I haven't bought fucking nothing. Honestly, I was going to come to give a really nice speech, and then I show up here and I realize, honest, you guys, they say when you have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. Well, I got nothing nice to say, but I got a whole lot to say anyway. I don't know what the fuck you people think this is. This is a war against your fucking children. They are coming to inject them with a poison. They are taking your jobs. They're taking your houses. And how do you respond? You spend 1 or 2 hours a week freedom fighting by coming and listening to a fucking band play? Are you guys fucking kidding me? Are you guys kidding me? This is what it means to freedom fight for you. To come and listen to a stupid band and sing and dance while the organizers are more worried about getting you on a fucking march than getting you to actually do something for yourself.
Okay.
Slapinski can't even smile. He's so pissed off. Look at him. He's like, I'm not. Oh, dude, it's only half done.
Oh yeah, there's
Can we just
more.
assume that he said a lot of stupid shit? Can we just end very loudly? Right?
They're coming to poison your kids. Fuck.
Yeah.
And there's literally little children sitting there. There's
Yeah.
little kids sitting right in front of them.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't care, yeah. Just like Alex Jones. It's right out of the Alex Jones playbook where it always ends up with dead children.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
your kids.
They're gonna poison your kids for fuck's sakes. Yeah, I get that part. Anyway,
the run up to that, I saw this other video. I think you either posted it or I saw it. I think you saw it too as well, Dean. The preamble to him getting into that gazebo and talking was that he was basically sitting in a van for like an hour and a half. And he comes out of the van and he does that. He smashes a perfectly good pair of glasses. I don't know what the fuck that was all about. Dramatic effect. So there's two things that I think are possibilities here. I'll get the first one out of the way because it's the cheaper one.
Okay.
The cheaper one is I have a feeling that he's a drug user. The second I looked at his wife, I'm like, meth. There's no doubt about it, right? She's got that meth kind of thing. And so it just sounds to me like he was up all night doing an 8-ball, ran out of blow just before the thing, got really frustrated, fucking couldn't find anything and came out and just let him have it. And he thought it was going to look like, you know, those guys that smoke weed and then they play their acoustic guitar and they think they're Clapton, but they're really like a guy with no fingers. He's just like sitting there going like this to his guitar.
That's him.
There's a Steve Martin tactic in comedy where you make the crowd your enemy, and then when you win them back, it's that much more rewarding. That's what he used to do at the Comedy Store back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
This could have been a rendition of that where he's like, you know what? Fucking tell them off and they'll love you. And, you know, the combined IQ between him and his wife is like fish. So, it's like, you know what I mean?
Fish.
So what are you going to do? I don't know. I just picked something random because.
Well, it certainly is a new way to motivate people that you're asking for $60 for a $4 t-shirt.
$60 is just a gram of Coke, Dean. Well,
here's the last, 45 seconds. I want you to listen very carefully to the part where he threatens this group, continues to threatens this group to not sell them the merch that he's there to sell them.
Out of the garbage bags.
Fucking pathetic. Each and every one of you should be absolutely ashamed of yourselves. You're walking around like this is a party, like this is a joke, like you're supposed to be here having fun. Right. It's not fun. They are killing people, including your own friends and family. And you guys are making jokes, playing fucking music? Honestly, I thought I was coming out here to talk to a group of people that had enough of what's going on. People that were ready to fight. And I come here and see a bunch of fucking pathetic children singing and dancing and having a good time. Like it's a goddamn party. Honestly, None of you deserve this shit right here. None of you deserve any of this merchandise. None of you deserve my team to be here and the dedication. We've driven 67 hours to get here. We've taken multiple ferries to get a very important message out.
Wow.
And you people are more worried about marches and music and patting each other on the back for not doing anything.
That's
Anybody
hypomania.
traveled?
Look up
Has anybody
hypomania.
traveled in Nanaimo before? I've never been on a ferry, multiple ferries for 68 hours. Or maybe James is onto something, and we're thinking it's different kinds of ferries that are carrying him around everywhere at this point.
Yeah, like
but-
Coke Ferry.
Yeah.
The meth ferry? Is it the battery acid ferry? Yeah, the ivermectin ferry. Just
Yeah.
taking him around. Well,
Holy.
fuck, the guy can't fly, so obviously it's a problem. He's gonna have to take a few fucking ferries to the island.
Gotta take the
That was-
gray tube.
Like if that
That's
was
a-
a strategy, I mean,
Awesome, dude.
but
That
you know
was
what? They
awesome.
all followed him into the hall. It might have worked.
Yeah.
This is where I was going to surprise you. I think it might have worked. I think that they were told, they were lectured, they were told off, and they were like, you know what? Well, we need to give him some latitude because he's right. Let's go to the store, Canadian Tire, and we'll do it. Like, I don't know. Sorry. I don't know.
Dude, there's two more videos. So Ryan actually, thank God for Ryan Lindley. He was the one that scoped those for me and pulled them off and sent them to me. I'm like, dude, you got to split these. You're fucking, I need them. And he's like, they're gold. They're gold. And the other ones aren't as cantankerous as that, but they all end with a bunch of women going, let's just hug Chris. And he's like, sorry. Yeah, I need a hug.
He told them
but at the
that
same
singing
time-
songs was stupid, and then goes into Canadian Tire and sings a song. It was great. It was,
But at the same time, there was people stepping up to him and giving him a bit of lip.
Yeah.
And he would try to pull them forward. And the whole crowd just defended Chris Sky. It's like, this is a cult. Like this is textbook. Like I said we were talking in the chat earlier, if this was in the United States, this guy would be on every watch list of the FBI, every watch list of Homeland Security, anything that had to do with any sort of, like people that they learned a lot of lessons from the Manson family and Jonestown. And this is Jonestown. Do you remember the end days of Jonestown when he was screaming and yelling at people on that
Yeah.
PA system?
You fucking losers,
You
drink
guys,
this
you
Kool-Aid.
fucking- You did this. You're fucking. We would have had paradise, but you all fucking did this.
I can't
This is
even
the
like
end
you
days.
anymore.
This is the end days of Jonestown. So we're witnessing it, and what's going to happen is it's going to distill it. It's going to concentrate. It's going to get rid of the somewhat followers and the diehards that are prepared to do fucking stupid shit for this idiot.
Mhm.
Are going to stick around, and stupid shit's going to start happening, and he's not going to be anywhere near it, but he's going to be the cause for it.
The reason. Yeah.
You watch the next 6 months, this is going to explode unless
Oh, yeah.
authorities do something to fucking pull this guy in.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
it is, what were you going to say, Slap? You going to say something? Sorry.
Yeah, it reminds me sort of like Jonestown or like the Waco incident, right?
Yeah.
He's got that kind of thing.
All right, let's pump the brakes a little bit on that. I don't think that this is anything like those two. It might be a little bit dangerous in the sense that you might activate a crazy person that might go and do something. But I think we need to keep some perspective here. This guy's a loser. He's a grifter trying to sell
Well,
shit.
hold it.
What do you
Hold it.
What do you
Hold it.
think? who do
That's
you
your
think the guy
opinion.
from Waco was.
Yeah.
He was the guy in the bar with a fucking guitar, buddy. He was a
Right.
nobody.
Right. But
I'm not saying this is going to happen tomorrow.
But he
This
also
is where
said that
it
he
starts.
was the reincarnation of Jesus Christ, and
And he
Didn't
says
this guy, didn't this guy also call himself the leader of God's army last
Yeah.
week? I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah,
All
okay.
right.
There's some coincidental things, but I mean, come on, that's
Well,
a little
let's be
little
fair.
bit of an
This isn't as
overstatement.
bad as Waco or the Jonestown thing. I don't think it's going to end with
Yeah.
a mass suicide or with a 51-day standoff or anything like that. I mean, this is going to be like a watered down Canadian kind of version. But what I could see happening, I think that's reasonable, and based on what we see in the United States, some kind of bigger, not insurrection, maybe, but like riot where they go storm a government building or
Like a January 6th thing, sort of thing.
kind of like that. Yeah, except like a bit
Yeah,
watered
that's not going anywhere now. That totally died right on January 6th too, right? So that's good. This is what I'm saying. This is in its infancy right now. This is still in its infancy. We're 19 months into a fucking pandemic. This guy has a grip
We have
on a
reason to
large
celebrate,
group of
guys.
people.
We have reason to celebrate because, like January 6th, the ones that are the most active are the carnies. And I'm not afraid of carnies. Okay. Like, just not.
Oh, like I don't listen. I don't like. I think you're interpreting what Mark and Ryan are saying as like these guys are right now a legitimate cult. They're not, as you can tell. But all the behaviors are there for Chris to, give. Who does the money go to? A church, an organization? Nope, goes to Chris. Cult. Who berates their followers? Chris. Cult. Who lies to their followers about what's going on in the state of the world? Chris. Cult. Bang, bang, bang. 3 in a row. And so it's there. It's just not. The ATF aren't burning down the house yet. You know what I mean? Like,
well, he's homeless, I think, so that's okay.
Oh, for sure.
They'd burn down some poor schlub's house in Nanaimo.
We're gonna spike belt them.
They used the battering ram on your van, Chris.
Anyway, yeah, fucking fascinating that he's still around. Like, and it won't stop. It's like he's one of those dudes. It's like, I'm on a heater. And I think part of it is because I'm baiting him. Like, I was like, I'm not writing about this anymore. Because last week I'm like, here's the last article on Chris Sky. Fucking can't stand this guy anymore. He's a regional joke. He's not an international sensation. And then and the reason why I did it, I'm like, it's over. Movement's over. He's nothing. He's just going to go to jail. And then he upped the ante. And so my thing is now is continuing to troll him in that way so that he goes out and does more shit. Because if he wants to get somebody, he wants to get me at this point. And I fucking
but
love it.
Careful, because if Chris Sky is responsible for activating crazy followers, you might be responsible for activating crazier Chris Sky, right? There's always a
that's the
cascade
hope.
effect happening here.
That's the hope, fella.
Okay.
That's the hope.
Nero.
Yeah.
I have a question though. That surety that he had that ended up getting arrested, how does he end up still being his surety? Did it transfer, or what's the status of him being out on bail?
His surety?
No, surety. Surety.
Oh, surety. Okay.
Surety. Like, he's got this dude named Z. And good news. I just read something that Karima just sent me a quick text. She's like, Chris Sky is moving to Alberta permanently. She just sent me that note, just so you know. So I got to tell Locke.
Congratulations, Lachlan.
I was just going to say, look out, Locke. You got a new member of the locker room.
Fuck. Funny to watch, though. Like, you know what it was for me? It was like, I don't know if you felt the same way, Slapinski. What I loved about it was this. It was like, okay, he's yelling at these people, kids in the crowd. Obviously, it's fucking disgusting and disturbing. But he's calling these people fucking pathetic losers, pieces of shit, motherfuckers. And there's a couple people that clap back, but then there's a couple guys in the back, and you can hear it go like this. Yeah, we are motherfuckers.
He's right about that one.
We are terrible. He's right. He's got me. He's got me. I've been a lazy motherfucker all week. I wanted to be an active motherfucker, but I've been a lazy motherfucker this whole week. So you're right, Chris. You're right. Chris is right, everybody.
Step on them harder, mistress.
Just to be closer.
Step on. I'd like to know where Chris Sky got the last transcripts to my fight with my wife, because
I don't know. All I know is I fucking dig it. Like, we're talking about these other guys being mentally ill. He's mentally ill too, but he has no reason for it.
I think he's just evilly brilliant when it comes to this. I think he's got no sense of self-worth to care about what he looks like as long as he's making money. So good for you, I guess, you capitalist. Go.
He's terribly disorganized and is just Forrest Gumping. He's like Forrest Gump on meth. He'd still do some pretty cool shit accidentally, but it's all accidental,
Forrest Gump on meth. I love it.
Forrest meth.
Run, Forrest, run! Why, the cops? The cops here?
Isn't her name Jenny?
Is her name Jenny? I love you, Jenny.
His wife? I think his wife's name's Jenny.
Jenny.
I'm
I
not
feel
a
sorry
smart
for him.
man, but I know what merch is.
You do have a nice fake buttocks.
Tastes like cigarettes.
I'm not a smart man, but I know how to put T-shirts in a garbage bag. Anyway, there's your tour through Crazyville today.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I've been spending this conversation literally blocking people on YouTube.
I'm so mad. I swear.
Mark, these guys they are mad at you. Mark, are you seeing some of these?
No, I can't see them. I got Twitch up on Twitter, but I guess it's on YouTube as well.
Yeah. YouTube and Twitch and stuff. Yeah. Dude.
Normally it comes up on the one side of our screen, like that we can all see them, but it says, looks like your embedded link is invalid. It's like, you guys really crashed my comments. Like, that's how bad.
That happens to me literally every podcast. So
really?
Wow.
It's the first time I've seen that. Yeah. So it's,
once,
I have to go back and rewatch and watch the comments come in. So.
One thing I need to thank all the crazy bastards for crashing our stream is the numbers have never been better. So thank you.
Oh yeah. Click, click, cha-ching. Thanks, motherfuckers.
Just on screen it says 72, but throughout all platforms we have like 844 people watching right now. So it's like, and it's just a moment in time. But thanks, guys. This is why I'm smarter than most of you, is because I know if I press that little trigger on your button that you're going to come and watch, and then I'm going to block you, and then you're going to threaten me. And I was like, this one guy who's like, he's like, I better not see, this is right here, better not see Slapinski and Blundell on the street. They don't know what it's like in the real world. I've already sent that to York region. I'm good. Doesn't bug me. Because I just give other people the job of policing you, not me, because I legitimately don't give a fuck about any one of you. Other than the people that have Mefloquin issues. Now I feel sorry for them.
Those guys, to a degree.
Fine line, though, between bad mental health and bad behavior, right? Like, we have to try to figure out. Like, when I was asking that question, I swear to God, I wasn't trying to be flippant. But why is it that, like, people can it just seems to happen a lot that racism is excused as a bad reaction to medication. I find that a little bit, I don't know. Like, is it taking what's already existing in your brain and exacerbating it? I don't know. I don't know the answer, so I'm not going to pretend I do. But it's a little. Imagine watching a big pharma commercial. Side effects may include bouts of racism, bigotry, and transphobia. Like I don't know. I just can't imagine seeing that. Right? Like,
yeah. I don't know.
I think there's a link. Well, I know in the United States, a lot of people that were involved with QAnon were also in the army. So I had to look into that a bit, but I think there was kind of a link there, maybe with the culture as well, too. That maybe
they're always bombing brown people.
All right.
Something like that.
But they are. I'm just saying it's true. We were going to pivot to Ice Cube. I don't know if we have time for Ice Cube, but he's it's funny how he's in the same boat as Jeremy. For almost the same
wrong
reason.
slide.
That's not Ice Cube.
For almost
this is Ice Cube.
Yeah. For almost the same reason.
Yeah. Ice Cube said no to a movie called Hell No after Sony wanted him in it with who's the other cat that was in it? I can't remember. It was another fucking guy. It was very funny. Oh, Jack Black was supposed to be in it. Hell no. Yeah, Jack Black's still doing it. Ice Cube is pulled out. You're supposed to get $9 million because he won't get vaccinated.
I hope he gets fucking Nelly or Flow Rider now, so that the movie.
But you know what? I look at that and I go, he's got the money to make that decision, right? So
he's also influential, though. He's
right, but he's not running around out there going "fuck the vaccine." He's just screaming "fuck the police." He's not going "fuck the vaccine," fuck the vaccine. He's saying "fuck the."
He's a freedom person. Yeah. He's a Trump supporter too. So
I don't care. See, and it's those people that I'm like, hey, you guys can have that corner of the world. I'm not interested in it, but just don't come over to my corner of the world with your bullshit or go to other people's corners of the world. That's when you get my attention.
Ice Cube feels about the government the way that I feel about the Catholic Church, and I would definitely not allow the Catholic Church to inject me with anything. Like, there is a good point.
They try.
Black people in the United States have the most legitimate reason to not take this vaccine, and that's because they have a history over and over again of being completely fucked over by the government, including being given syphilis and then just allowed to suffer just so they could see what would happen. Like, they were literally guinea pigs. I would probably not take the vaccine, even if I was incorrect, if I lived in the United States and I was a black man. That's the way I look at it. But
yeah, I mean, different reasons to go into it, right? I'm glad we were able to understand it, and I'm also glad we were able to make fun of the ones that everybody else wants to make fun of today too. Dude, it's
I enjoyed the jokes today, everybody.
I can't wait to rewatch it and see the comments.
Okay, Dina, I will.
Oh, dude, you got to see this. I've blocked Derek Rants, the original Lion Blazer, Jesus Del Jesus. I've blocked
Jesus.
Adam, Nika, Will, Gary, Gulag Barbie's getting it next. There you go, bud.
Gulag and Barbie together at last.
Gulag.
Yeah, I don't care. Anyway, Mark, thanks for being here. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
Hopefully you had a couple of laughs and yeah, just stay away from the crazies. Or yeah, stay away from the web.
Yeah.
I heard
Unless they find me first.
What's that,
I
Mark?
heard food blog.
Unless
I heard
they find
food
me first.
blogging is big.
Sorry, Mark. Everybody
Unless they
interrupted you
find
again.
me first.
Yeah.
Unless
Yeah.
they come after me, yeah. Well,
That's a
Just-
4chan maneuver, though. It is. Who's that guy that starred in Looper? You know, the young actor there.
Oh, Gordon Levitt.
Yeah. No, not Gordon Levitt. Then the other guy, the guy with the fucked up name that was always drunk on the street, and he was in a bunch of movies like Transformers. That guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that guy was
Shia LaBeouf.
that's the guy. So
Oh,
yeah.
he put like some freedom flag or something like that on some tower and tried to get a whole bunch of people to guess where it was, and then 4chan just told everyone where it was, and then a bunch of alt-right guys drove to the spot to bully him or something like that.
Seriously?
So apparently it's not. Yeah, I'm probably butchered the fuck out of the retelling of that story, but yeah, I'll find it because it's hilarious. But anyways, it is possible that they could find you. All I'm saying, Mark, is that I'd sleep with one eye open.
Dude, just do what I do. I've got a couple guys at York Region. I'm like, here's another one. Here's another one.
Fresh
Here's
fit.
another one. And they
Mark-
follow up. They follow up
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Mark,
But
lives
you don't have
near-
to
Mark
fight.
lives very close too, right? You're pretty close to a station, aren't you, Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
That's
the
good.
Toronto Police actually follow my Twitter page, so I
What
guess-
kind of
Yeah.
gun do you have, Mark?
Pardon?
Stop it.
What?
Doesn't have a gun. Stop
To
it.
protect himself.
No. Now you're getting in dangerous territory. We can't
I'm
talk
not
about that
saying
kind of
that.
stuff here.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
no,
You're right.
I live in a pretty metro area. Like it's very well lit, lots of cameras. So I mean, if someone
Yeah.
wanted to come after me, it would be, but they'd be putting themselves at risk coming to such a metro area.
How about give him Jack Johnson or Mike Tyson?
Jack Johnson, the folk singer? I don't know. I'm going with the Tyson.
Oh no,
Or-
the fighter.
All right.
or food blogging. I heard food blogging is really big now. It's maybe an idea.
Yeah. Are you coming up with a new food blog? Would you got something for us? Because the burger thing
I was
went
going to say
nuts.
for Mark, maybe he can take another road and let the heat die down a
Food
bit.
blog.
Do you like
Yeah,
puzzles,
thanks.
Mark? Do you like
Teach us
puzzles?
how to cook eggs or something.
I just stole Lachlan's joke.
Do you have like other things you can blog about?
Besides these guys, usually try to talk about Trudeau and what he's doing, and usually
Oh, you
politics.
can. Yeah, but you can talk about these guys. Just like don't threaten them. Like it's one of those things. Like I don't threaten these guys because they don't take to that well. And listen, I'm getting a lot of. It doesn't matter, but I'm getting a lot of. Watch out, Blundo.
Yeah.
I ain't scared. I ain't scared because I know that these guys all operate from behind a computer, and they're too fucked in the head to leave the house. So it's
That's why
doesn't bother me.
that's why there's no real names involved ever.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. Like Full Draw Scarps. Some guy just said, my name is Full Draw Scarps. Another's like Raging Dissident. Another one's like Raging Foreskin. And I'm like, oh,
Not
okay.
a cuck. Not a cuck.
Not a cuck. Yeah.
Multiple skin tags.
Skin tag machine.
Triple
999.
ball.
Yeah.
Frog
we're all
meme
saying-
74628. Frog meme 72648.
Mhm.
Do they still do that?
Yeah, like this dude who goes by Edgy TV. He just wants to get on the screen. So here you go, bud.
Our
Good
names
for you.
are
You
out
made
there.
it. Our names are out there. Edgy TV. I don't give two fucks. I don't care if your name's out there. This
No, it
guy's
isn't.
cool. This guy's cool. Al Stern. He's like, I'm right here, bitch. Right on.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You know where you are. You're conscious.
Yeah. Fuck.
For now.
Thank you. Thank you, Al. Good news, everybody. Al has achieved consciousness wherever he is. Finally,
And he's right here.
Why don't you come up to Killaloe and say that, bitch? Fucking 4-hour drive.
yeah.
Let's see how
I mean,
tough your tires are.
There's one dude that wanted to fight me a few months ago, and I'm like, I'll meet you at the Cenotaph, like somewhere in Sudbury. And he's like, took a picture and sent it to me because I'm here. I'm like, fuck, I can't believe you went, dude.
All the way from North Bay, you fucking-
I came from Guelph.
He did. He did. He drove from fucking Welland all the way out to Sudbury, and he took a picture of the Cenotaph, and he's like, I still have it. I got to show it.
He probably just wanted to get the fuck out of Welland. Have you ever been to Welland?
That's true.
Awful.
Look at this guy. See, and this is what kills me. Full draw scarps, whatever. A total fake, and no one knows who he is, so he's super brave. He's telling us we're tough behind the screen, behind his fake name. That's the best.
Probably Lachlan just having fun with it.
Yes, it's Lachlan.
Probably.
Still my uncle.
That's why I'm not scared of these guys, Smart. Don't worry about it, buddy. We're going to be fine. You stay close to me. I'll clear the path. We'll walk through the door together. Okay, buddy?
And settle down, Mark. You're really excitable.
Yeah, you triggered today.
I know, right? Yeah, you're in the middle of these guys. Yeah.
Yeah. He's trying. Did this drag you a bit? Did it bother you?
What part? Like the conversation's fine. You know,
No, I mean this whole thing, like all these threats from these laptop wieners.
Yeah, like I mean that's sort of unsettling to say the least. I'm not really used to that. I mean we had some before with that gun incident, but it seems like this is a little bit more direct than what I was getting before.
Yeah.
Because before it was the Hilliers, and they're kind of bad enough, but this guy seems like he's a little bit worse than that.
Oh yeah, they all are.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the genesis. Like at least I'm happy to have John on to understand where these guys are coming from. It's still the same thing.
It's worth
It's
pointing
still
out that
guys
Jeremy,
threatening us for like saying, "Hey, you're wrong." Oh yeah, fucking watch out! I'll come with. That's how you know they're all pussies. Is when you go like this. Hey guys, science would say you're wrong. Oh yeah, watch out! I'm going to fight you. And you're like, over science? Want to fight over science? Is that it?
I guess going to change the case study, but okay.
Yeah. So these guys are either really protective of science or they're just mentally unwell. And I'm going with the.
Plus, I think Jeremy is
opposite.
at least part ginger, which is always a problem, right?
There you go. Yeah.
What? They're white. I'm allowed to. It's okay.
That's true. Anyway, Mark Slapinski, Toronto99.com is where you can find him. He's a very good man, and he's a great writer, and he's a great reporter. So if you want to check out anything that Mark does, go to Toronto99. And don't block anybody. Mute. Don't give them the satisfaction of knowing you blocked them. If you mute somebody, and this is for everybody else out there in computer land, if you mute somebody, they still have to look at your shit.
You muted me, and I still have to do the show with you. So
yeah, there you go. That's a good one. But anyway, Mark, appreciate you. At Mark Slapinski is where you can find him on Twitter. Also, at James D. Fiore from Blackballed the Podcast is where you can find him. Or at James D. Fiore on Twitter as well. And Ryan Lindley, the host of the Sheeple Shepherd Podcast with his lovely wife, Ashley, who's weighed in here. I think she's worried for your safety a little bit. But
well, she's pretty big. She knows Kung Fu.
She knows Kung Fu?
Don't say big.
Oh, she knows like 4 different martial arts.
Does she really? She can kick your ass.
Did she ever
I'm
carry
just
you to
making
bed?
up lies on the internet because that's what we do.
Oh.
She's also 6'4" and 300 pounds.
Awesome. She carries you to bed. She carries you to bed.
It's the best way to be.
Oh,
look at this.
I'm actually Ashley.
This is Ashley right here. She asked. She's like, "Worried me? Fuck you."
Can she carry me to bed? I mean that respectfully.
No,
Just
you
throw
don't.
me on the bed. You can leave right after you throw me. That's fine.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all being here.
Thanks.
Yeah, no
Thanks,
problem. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
Goodbye,
Mark,
everybody.
Ryan,
Have a nice day.
James, have a wonderful day.
Everybody just calm down.
Yeah. Everybody just calm down. Thanks, Mark.
Just calm down.
Thanks, Lindley. Yeah. Is it just me, or am I the only person that has a handle on this?
I just, if you had something to really counter it, you would. Like, and we tried today to be an open book and bring somebody in to educate us, because that's what people do. They learn as we go. We don't sit in our fucking filth and wallow in it. And we had somebody explain something to us and say, yeah, you know what? Maybe I won't dunk on that guy anymore. And then
they're making it hard.
Holy shit.
They're making it hard.
So tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Nothing. You know what you say? Thanks, Al. Thanks, John. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Billy. Thanks, Bob. Thanks to everybody that made this very well-attended podcast.
Yeah.
Which you can get on
website stuff too.
Yeah. iTunes. Find us there. Spotify. YouTube. Pretty much anywhere. That's where these people find. We're willing to work with anybody, but not those guys. So you'll find us here tomorrow at 3. Then the next day at 3. You'll find me doing the same thing because I don't care. I'll listen and I'll try to be cordial. Is that a good way to put it? Understanding, empathetic.
Understanding, empathetic.
Yeah. But where you guys will lose support, which is why you're all off in the little fucked up corner by yourselves, going on people's like YouTube feeds, which doesn't bother me. I love it. It's content. I live for it. I only do this for the clicks anyway. Like, I am so removed from this whole process emotionally, and you guys don't know me. That's the other thing. These people that are like, well, fucking, you don't know me. You don't know what I'm after. I'm gonna get it all. And it starts with stuff like this because nothing bothers me at all.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time on here, and we spend a lot of time online. I get it, but that's where that stays. Like, we have real things. Like, that's just kind of like a fun pretend thing that sometimes we make money at, and it's not real life. And everybody else is treating it like it's real life. Like, you're behind that screen like it's real life. Don't do that. Go outside.
It's a window.
Take a picture.
It's a window on my phone. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Don't care.
Have a good one, buddy.
Ryan Lindley, Sheeple Shepherd Podcast. Thanks, brother. At Ryan Lindley on Twitter. Say hi to Ashley for me too. Talk to you soon.
I will. Take care, man.
All right. You too. There's Ryan Lindley. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to Jeremy McKenzie, who I know is watching, but he can't comment anymore just because he wouldn't shut the fuck up. It was just too annoying. Anyway, you got my email address. And if I get any emails from anybody, guess who's going to court for more stuff? Have a great day. Thanks to everybody for being part of the program, even if you're angry. And if you're a military person who's been fucked over by the government and this is the end result, go get some fucking help. And we'll help you get some help. But fuck, relax, everybody. We get it. I get why you're not vaccinated. I get why you rail against it. It's when you go after human beings that you get my attention. Especially this way. Like going after people like Mark or other people who are reporting on it, and because you don't like how they've interpreted how you've acted when everybody's interpreted anything the same way, it doesn't give you fucking cause for excuse to say everybody's wrong just because you say they're wrong. Your actions dictate how people look at you, and people look at you like you're crazy because you're acting fucking crazy. It's pretty simple. Super easy to understand. When you ask for your own societies and stuff like that, fuck, you're the one screaming two-tiered system. You're doing it, not us, not me, not Mark. Mark's rough around the edges. He'll figure it out. To Halifax Matt, who encourages me to, I look scared. No, I'm good. Halifax Matt, go fuck yourself. Thanks, Matt. I won't be doing that this evening. No, I won't be doing that this evening. I got plans. Appreciate it, though. Anyway, you can find us, my name, on the front of the website, DeanBlundell.com. Sign up for our newsletter. If you really hated this, fuck, you'll hate the newsletter. And appreciate you being here. Don't forget to say hi and thanks to all of our sponsors and partners, including Blue Microphones. Blue Mics, we use them. You can too. Blue Microphones, anything for gaming, streaming. They're a Logitech group of companies. They got Logitech cameras. Blue microphones, including the Blue Yeti X and these MoFi headphones. Check out everything at bluemic.com or at Blue Microphones. Follow them on Twitter. Thanks to our friends at edsfineimports.com. He's got Gitch luxury branded underwear, boxer briefs, and if you order them from him today, he'll send you a free pair. Gitch, promo code 3. Super easy to use it. Buy 3 pairs, he'll send you the 4th for free. Go to edsfineimports.com. Order from him today, clothing for men and boys. Awesome place. I get all my clothes there, including the stretchy jeans, which we talked about. You got to have the stretchy jeans. If you're a human being, you cannot live without stretchy jeans. He's got them. 34 Heritage. edsfineimports.com. Domination, which is AI software for people that produce content like this, takes you minutes instead of hours. dmntn.com. Try them for free today. It's awesome. You'll love it. Also, not done there. We want to thank our friends at Envision for making this whole thing possible. Thanks to our friends at Envision and thanks to our friends at Easy Auto Financial. Easy Auto Financial is where you get a car. It's where you can get financing for a car. It's where you can find the dealer that wants to sell you the car, and they send you there with everything. It is turnkey. Go to easyautofinancial.ca. Again, easyautofinancial.ca, and check them out today. Sign up for a newsletter, deanblundell.com. Thanks to everybody, including all of you who participated in the chat. It was a lot of fun today. We'll do it again tomorrow at 3 o'clock. See most of you, whoever we didn't block then. Have a wonderful day, everybody. See you soon. Bye.